Hey everybody, Bobby A, aka the Booze Doctor here. I just wanted to tell you that this is a special presentation of What Are the Andersons Drinking Tonight. We're going to celebrate St. Patrick's Day. We recorded this a couple of nights ago. As you notice, me and my pal Tim started having a few drinks and it got a little darker out there. But hey, happy St. Patrick's Day. Just wanted to alert you. And then starting April 1st, every Thursday, we're going to be dropping new recipes, new recipe episodes. And we're going to take the Booze Doctor on the road for some special episodes this summer. So check it all out and subscribe to my YouTube channel, The Booze Doctor. Hello again, everyone, and welcome to another edition of What Are the Andersons Drinking Tonight? I'm Bobby A, a.k.a. The Booze Doctor, but we have a special episode tonight. St. Patrick's Day is coming up. And we're going to talk a little bit about Irish beers, Irish whiskey, and also, what are the Andersons drinking tonight? There's only one Anderson, so it's what are the Andersons drinking tonight? Instead, in place, I have a friend of mine, one of the most Irish guys I've ever met, Tim M. Welcome to What Are the Andersons Drinking Tonight? First question I have for you, what does the M stand for?
My mother, I can't do that.
Okay. Not safe for work, so we're going to hold that one back.
This is not suitable for young'uns, so we'll just say M. We'll stick with the M.
You know what? Before we start, we should probably pour our Guinness, because it's going to take time to settle.
We're going to need a little to wet our whistle to get through this, I think.
We're going to start with some Guinness, okay? And we'll talk in a second. Unfortunately, we're not at a bar, because no bars are open right now. And we'd love to get a good draft, but Guinness in a can, I guess it'll get us through the hard times.
You follow those directions, right. It's best to be drank poured and have it settle for a bit in your glass.
What do here?
For your optimal taste.
That's going to sit. The viewers see the Guinness. So a little background here. Tim and I work together, and I think we're going on 20 years, right?
A little over 20
years.
We've known each other. Yeah, friendship, 20 years.
Yeah, and that's fantastic. And then we also bartended together. Tim is actually somebody who's seen the Booze Doctor in action.
It's a sight, I'll tell you that. It's a sight. You got to see it in person. You need to visit him at the bar, and you will not be disappointed.
And we'll keep making drinks. So this is kind of a preview episode. We wanted to take a minute to shout out to St. Patrick's Day. And on April 1st, we're going to start dropping new recipes for the Booze Doctor. I hope everybody subscribes and shares. And I think as spring moves into summer, we're going to take the Booze Doctor on the road. So we might drop some episodes not on Thursdays. Like I said, Thursday, April 1st, the next real Booze Doctor episode. So that's number one. Shall we take a sip before we move on?
Absolutely.
All right. Got an Irish toast?
Slanche.
That's it. That's what I thought. Always
Gaelic version of cheers that I learned when I went over to Ireland.
So that's my next question. How Irish are you?
Ironically, I just started doing my family tree on Ancestry, and I was just able to find my longest back relative, I believe, is my 7th great-grandfather, Terence McGow. From 1734 he was born, and I traced him all the way back to there, and he is from Monaghan County, which is in Northern Ireland, right on the border by Scotland. So my namesake comes from that specific county. So I have other nationalities mixed in. I have a little bit of French-Canadian, I have Italian on my mom's side, Lithuanian is in there as well, but again, the majority, like my dad said, we only talk about the Irish side. That was always his joke as we were growing up as a kid.
That's fantastic. And you got another good story about that coming up in a second when we start to get to the whiskeys. I'm a quarter Irish. I think great-grandparents came over, but they were not the Catholic Irish. They were the Protestant Irish. They were the Orange Irish. I wore orange on St. Patrick's Day one day, and everybody was yelling at me.
Yes, that is a rule that you should not be wearing orange on St. Patrick's.
So I'm not. I got my lime green, best I can do. So let's talk a little Irish whiskey. I mean, Guinness is great on St. Patrick's Day, but you're going to need a little something extra to keep us going. So our buddy Jameson, right? Jameson is becoming like the standard bearer of Irish whiskeys. It's not the only one, and whether it's the best depends on your opinion. I'm not saying it's the best. By the way, all the products we're featuring tonight, we do not get endorsed by. These are our private endorsements, stuff we like to drink. maybe one day I'll get a sponsor like Jameson or Guinness or so on and so forth.
Anyone out there from Jameson or Guinness that would like to sponsor the Booze Doctor and every St. Patrick's show,
Love it.
we'd be happy to take on your sponsorship for sure and endorse the wonderful products of Guinness and Jameson and all the other wonderful Irish spirits and ales they have out there.
I think you turned me on to Jameson. I think my whiskey was pretty much American whiskeys and bourbons before this.
I don't know if I did, but I'll take credit for it.
Okay, maybe. So here's your basic, flagship brand Jameson, which is just fantastic. A couple years ago, Jameson came out with some products where they age their whiskeys in, this is IPA barrels, and this one's from stout barrels such as Guinness, and I love these. So if I'm going to do a shot at Jameson, I think I'm going to bring one of those. Again, nothing wrong with the original, okay? The original and sometimes the best. And then Tim brought over this, Jameson Black Barrel. Tell me about this real quick.
I honestly don't know much about it. Someone was nice enough to give this to me for a gift for the holidays. And I was just reading the back of it. So I've always been curious, waiting for a special occasion. And no better special occasion to hang out with the Booze Doctor and talk about Irish whiskey than cracking open a brand new bottle. And it seems to be aged and in barrels as well. They're charred twice, the wood to bring out the flavor, and they have notes of that charred type of flavor as well as vanilla note and some nut in there as well. So I'm really excited to try the Black Barrel Jameson.
So it's kind of like how they age bourbon.
Very similar, yeah. And I've been drinking a lot of bourbon lately, as much as whiskey is my staple and foundation. But I am excited to see the similarities between the traditional bourbons here made in America compared to the Irish whiskeys and what their take is on it.
I'm going to do a shot. What would you like to do?
I'm going to join you. I'm going to go with the Caskmate Stout as my favorite. There's a little sweetness to it, which takes off a little bit of the edge if you're not a traditional or regular whiskey drinker. So I personally love Jameson Caskmates. So I've turned a lot of my friends onto this, and it seems to be that a lot of them have added this to their regular rotation in their liquor cabinets. And I highly recommend Caskmate Stout.
I'm going with the Caskmate Stout too. Again, nothing against the other kinds. We like it. This has become my favorite go-to Jameson. Little note about the shot glasses. I got myself a Yankees 1998 World Series champion. Now, my friend Tim here is not a Yankee fan. He's a Red Sox fan. We're not going to dive too much into sports. We don't dive into sports or politics here because we're not trying to push anybody away. We're all here about the good times and about the booze. But in honor of my friend coming over, I don't have any Red Sox shot glasses, of course. However, I do have a shot glass I picked up at Fenway Park in '99 when they did have an All-Star game there. So I think that'll sort of, how the heck did you become a Red Sox fan?
I try to make it real short, but I never picked a baseball team as a kid. And I think that my first introduction, I might have told you this, but I know you're a huge baseball fan, is I followed the Mets in 1986. There was a lot of excitement when they won the World Series. They were the underdogs, so I was like, oh, I'm a Mets fan. I was young. At that point, I was 86, so I was 8 years old, 9 years old. I'm a Mets fan. I'm going to root for the underdog, and kind of always said, I was a Mets fan, but never really die hard and followed. And then as I got older, I kind of followed some teams here and there and went through the home run back and forth between McGuire and Sosa in college. I'm like, I really need a baseball team, so I kind of told most people the Mets, and then the Red Sox, because my dad was a massive Red Sox fan. He followed them as a kid and knew all the stats, all the batting averages. So that was his big team. He was a massive fan of Ted Williams, and that was his team. And then the thing that pushed me over the edge is when we actually bartended. There was a lot of fans at the bar who tended to be Yankees fans.
Obnoxious Yankee fans, unfortunately.
I didn't say that. I came from a Yankees fan.
It's true, especially in the late 90s.
We would be mid-summer. We still had months to the postseason. And they would lose a game, and whenever they lost a game, some customers, not all, automatically we get very defensive and immediately, how many rings do you have? And so me being the wonderful bartender I am, I automatically had to go back with the banter and then start to talk Red Sox. So I started to follow the Red Sox even more. So I did really start to follow them before they won and broke the curse, their first World Series, and then a few afterwards.
He did. I'll give him that.
So I did not jump on the bandwagon, and ever since then, I've been a pretty much diehard fan. I follow the team. I've been at Fenway multiple times. My two sons are, they know our team. They know the hat. They know the logo. We know that we're Red Sox fans in our family. So that's how I got into the Red Sox. And as of today, a Red Sox fan.
At Fenway Park in Boston, great trip. Listen, you don't have to be a Red Sox fan, don't have to be a baseball fan. It's a fantastic city. I actually took in that summer '99 Yankees Red Sox weekend at the height of one of the rivalries. All right, let's have a little. I'm gonna go cheers on this one. That's fantastic.
Smooth.
Smooth.
Is,
Gotta
really
wash
is.
it down with some Guinness. You were telling me, there's so many Irish whiskeys out there. We're not necessarily just promoting one. This is one of our choices. I have another one. If you want to slide that black bottle over, okay? I found this over the summer called Teeling, another Irish small batch. So Jameson's mass produced, and there's nothing wrong with that. This is one I was recommended by a podcast called What We're Drinking, and I picked it out. I tried it. It's also fantastic. You could do a shot. You could put it on ice. You could drink it, neat and really good. So another one if you want to try something different. The Teeling. We'll talk about the knot in a second. You were telling me a great Irish whiskey story before.
Yeah. So when I first
that goes back to your heritage and your dad, who by the way was a fantastic guy. Let's cheers. Let's cheers to my dad.
My old man,
great guy.
Dad. Baseball knowledge and
Yeah.
whiskey knowledge. So my brothers and sisters and I sent my dad and my mom over to Ireland. He had never been there, so we sent him over for one of their anniversaries. I believe it was the 25th. And when he came back, he told me this story. So in our house, when I was of age, I was 21. We had Bushmills in our house, and that was the first time I tried
fine Irish whiskey, by the way.
Fine Irish whiskey, and that's the first time I was exposed to Irish whiskey and enjoyed it and liked it. My father came home. We're not drinking Bushmills anymore. Why not? He had met an Irishman while he was over there at a local pub, and he said, you could tell on a Saturday at a pub who will be at what church the following day. I said, what does that mean? I said, what do church and the bar have to do with one another? And he said, most people, this is the story goes that he was told, was that if you were Protestant, you drank Bushmills, and if you were Catholic, you drank Jameson. So I was raised a Catholic. My parents were devout Catholic. So in that regard, our house quickly changed over to Jameson. And that's when I was introduced to Jameson, and ever since then, I grew a taste to it, and it's been my favorite Irish whiskey ever since.
There you go. Tell me about the other one you brought over.
This is
By the way, sorry to interrupt you.
Sure.
You notice that none of these. I did open this one fresh, and this one open, but these have been drank out of. We don't. Jameson doesn't last super long around here. So this one, obviously, the knot. Tell me about that.
This is a nice Irish whiskey that, again, was given to me as a gift. It's a little bit of a just a different take on Irish whiskey, and the fact that it's a little bit more of a bite, in my opinion, but I do enjoy it. There's a lot of times I've drank this on the rocks. I drank it neat. I don't really typically mix my whiskeys and drinks personally. When it comes to Jameson, I like to get the full flavor of the whiskey. I'll have the traditional Jameson. That's the one that I'll probably mix with a drink if I'm having like a Jameson and ginger or some kind of mixed drink using a whiskey, some type of whiskey for a drink, or the spirits.
Cool. Why don't you slide those? You got the
We could get
rocks
to work
glasses.
and move some of these.
Yeah, let's move some of the
aside.
stuff. We've seen it. Maybe another couple of beers, Irish beers. We got Harp, and we got Smithwick's. Okay, for those of you newbies out there, it's not pronounced Smithwick's, and I'm sure 98% of you know that. But don't go to a bar, especially an Irish bar, and ask for a Smithwick's. It's called Smithwick's. Red Ale and Harp Traditional Lager, both fantastic. Both eventually now owned by Guinness. So Guinness is getting the monopoly on the Irish beers out there. I'd like to try some of this. Want to take a hit?
Yeah, let's put that in
All right.
a nice rocks glass
Pour a
here.
little, just a sniff. Okay, it's not cold. We'll let it breathe for a minute. I'm just going to have a little, you pour how much you want. I'm just going to have a little dash of it. We'll let it sit for a second while I ask you about, do you have any good St. Patrick's Day stories? And of course, when we talked about this before we started, you said what I was going to say, that it's tough to remember all of them.
Yeah,
But what do you,
most St. Patrick's Day stories, other people tell me sometimes the stories and kind of fill in the gap sometimes in celebrating on St. Patrick's Day. I'm here in America, but it's very different over in Ireland. Ireland, it's more of a religious holiday, and there's not as much fanfare. They do have parades, but here in America, it's really blown up and really celebrated and embraced. There's two that stick out. One, I remember going with my brother and a childhood friend. We went into New York City, And
which has more Irish people than Dublin.
yeah.
Interestingly enough.
And we went over into New York City, and I remember this vividly, that we were walking around, and there's people everywhere at the parade. I mean, you couldn't, forget social distancing.
Right.
You're just jammed in the back. It's amazing. It's a great feeling. Everyone's happy. Everyone's cheering each other, and everyone on the street is somewhat drinking and having a good time. And I happen to have a Guinness in my hand and a paper bag. And I'm walking around like most people in New York City, and I got stopped by an undercover police officer. And he started talking to me, what's in your bag? And I thought, because it's St. Patrick's Day, I'd be okay. I was of age, and I thought I'd be okay. And I explained, I had a Guinness, sir, going to the bar. And we were at the group about 10 people. And at this exact moment, by the way, I mind you, there was an underage individual right behind the police officer, I think, vomiting on the street. And he could not walk, and he happened to stop me.
You.
Out of all people. And
I
actually got a ticket, and I had to go back into the city, take a day off of work,
brutal.
to take a course because I had an open container in New York City. So that's the one that always sticks out in my mind. And the other one is our dear friend, which we can cheers to him, our good friend Jay. He's no longer with us.
I guess that's a good time to
have
have
a good time to try
have a hit of this, right?
We'll talk about a story about Jason.
That's really good. That's sweet. I like that.
That's
Never tried this before.
That's
That'd be better than the
try
Jameson
that.
the stout.
That's going to be dangerous on St.
take-
Patrick's Day at my house.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So I remember we were in the Jersey Shore, and one of the staples celebrating St. Patrick's Day, I believe it was Bar A. And I remember...
A great St. Patrick's
Yeah.
Day. Their parade is about, 10 days before?
Yes.
2 weeks
It's usually
before?
the first week of the month, I think it is.
like
It's
that.
usually the first Saturday.
Sunday
I
or
believe
Saturday
Sunday,
market, yeah.
right. And I remember, excuse me, going out to meet him, and it was, we'll go out for a couple, of course. Yeah, right, famous last words. And it was supposed to snow. And I was like, it's a Sunday. The parade's always on a Sunday. And I'm like, we're going to have off of work tomorrow. Is the roads going to be closed? And I was like, I got to be careful. And next thing happened, the bagpipes were going, the Jameson came out, the Guinness came out. We were having, Jay,
Tends to happen.
you
Tends
know.
to happen.
Tends to happen. We had a good old time, a good old Irish celebration. And I wasn't feeling too great, I was feeling great by the time I went home, but I knew the next day would be rough. And I got that phone call. That phone call came in for the first time that school was canceled.
Oh, boy.
And it was from up above that we had the day off the next day. And it was, so it was the celebration felt even better in the fact that, again, we had off of work the next day.
Many good times at the Belmar Parade. I
Yeah.
think what I remember the most is I was in Orlando for spring break. I wasn't in Orlando. We were in Florida for spring break, and we went to Orlando because supposedly they have one of the larger parades in the country. It's not New York, it's not Boston, and it's not Savannah. By the way, you want to do a little St. Patrick's Day outside of New York or Boston, Savannah, one of the great cities,
I heard
one of the
Savannah
great American
is amazing.
cities.
That's on my list.
One of my favorite cities. And just hit that message. We're doing this live. We're not doing any separate takes. So every once in a while we get a little. Just hit the message, or whatever. Just get rid of it. Anyhow, back to the Dropkick Murphys. I don't know if you hear. We got the Dropkick Murphys. We got the Irish theme going. Anyhow,
Coming out of
Orlando.
Boston.
Yeah, Orlando. I'm 20 years old, and I think I remember the most was actually doing the whole St. Patrick's Day drinking, but just struggling to get alcohol at every place we go because it was so locked down. And this is in the 80s when you could pretty much do anything you wanted to do. But I remember that one because we made a specific effort to get to Orlando for the St.
Don't
Patrick's Day
start
parade.
throwing at years. You might start throwing at your age. Both of us can.
Okay, I was 3 years old.
Hey, we embrace it. We embrace it here.
That's it. So I think we've covered all of our alcohol here, right?
We've gone through our whiskeys, and again, I highly recommend the Jameson. We also have the two different beers. Again, there's so many different variations of drinks you can have. You can have your half and half with your Harp, which is lager, which is lighter, and Guinness. You can get the half and half mix. Amazing.
Yeah, which is tasty.
We used to add, which was a nice treat that came up, and that was, I think, another one from Jay. Had a small shot of vanilla vodka on top of your half and half.
Special Guinness.
Which is a special Guinness, which is outstanding. You have your Irish Carbon you could also make as well, which is a staple for St. Patrick's
Messy.
Day.
Not doing that in my kitchen, but at a
Yeah.
bar on St. Patrick's Day is probably the only place I would pick up an Irish car bomb. But hey, So as we close out, I just want to thank you for coming out. I appreciate it. my friend.
My
Always
pleasure.
good. We want to wish everybody a happy St. Patrick's Day. Enjoy. Be careful. Don't drive. Don't drink and drive, I should say.
Uber.
Enjoy responsibly. And please go to the Booze Doctor page at YouTube and subscribe. We're trying to get the subscriber base up, and we really want to see it. There's going to be more cocktails, and make some comments. Tell me in the comments, what is your best St. Patrick's Day memory? Or your worst St. Patrick's Day memory? But I guess if it's your worst, you may not have a memory about it. So let's start a conversation about St. Patrick's Day.
And
like
what are
I
you
said-
drinking? What else do you drink? We drink whiskey. We drink a good old Guinness. We drink, the half and halves. Is there any Irish drinks that, again, that you like? Again, when I was over in Ireland, and my now wife, when she took me over there when we were dating, Powers Irish whiskey was like their kind of staple. I met all these different types of whiskeys and went on different type of whiskey tastings when I was there. So again, what's in your glass right now that you're drinking to celebrate St. Patrick's Day? But I will say this, and on my perspective, it doesn't matter what you drink. The most important thing is that you're drinking with a friend and that you have a good time.
That's it.
Everything tastes better when you're with people that you care about, and that would be the number one advice that I have for this St. Patrick's Day.
Agreed.
Remember the ones that are here with us and the ones that are not.
Booze Doctor says, happy St. Patrick's Day to everybody. One more toast. Give me that Irish toast again.
Sláinte.
There you go. Happy St. Patrick's Day, everybody.
Happy St. Patrick's Day, everyone.